Hi everyone! I'm down at the bottom of your screen this week. I decided to try something a little new and narrate a PowerPoint for you all so that you only have one file to watch or to look at, and you'll be all prepared for this week. So, welcome to English 101 Week 12. Pretty crazy, man. Week 12 already. So, we're actually starting a new essay this week. Your essay 3s were due last night. Hopefully, you got those to me. And this week, we're going to start essay 4. So, before we get into the assignment sheet, the thing you want to remember is that Essay 4 is all about audience, purpose, and tone. So, who you're writing to, why you're writing, and how you do it. Okay, so let's get started. So, assignments this week, you're going to have a reading quiz due Friday. So, reading quiz number 2. There will be 2 readings on Blackboard, one called Understanding Proposals, and the other is another excerpt from you writing. And then you'll also have a video to watch to answer those questions. Your discussion board 10 is going to be due by Friday. This is a little pre-writing activity for essay 4. And then your proposal outline is going to be due by Sunday. So all of those assignments will be on Blackboard, and let's kind of focus particularly on essay 4. So on Blackboard, you should find the assignment sheet under essays and assignments, the essay 4 folder, and then the assignment sheet. The basics are we're writing a letter proposal. So a little different from a typical essay, but many people think that letters are sort of a lost art, but actually, as you'll find from Omar Ahmad, the TED Talk presenter of the video you'll watch, letters are actually one of the best ways to enact change with those in power. So you might think that like an email or a phone call might be more effective, but a letter actually, because they're so unusual, might actually get more attention than you think. So who you're writing to depends on the topic you choose for your proposal. And your purpose is going to be a little more specific, but overall, I'd like you all to think about something that you would like to see changed. All right, it can be something at SWIC, it can be something with your job, it can be something just in the state of Illinois. Any of these things will be fine for essay 4. So go ahead and when you have a chance, get on Blackboard, check out the assignment sheet, and let me know if you have questions. There are more specific details on the assignment sheet as well. So one part of the assignment is to watch a TED Talk by Omar Ahmad called Political Change with Pen and Paper. About 6-7 minutes long, so it really shouldn't take you too long. But go ahead and watch that. It's under essays and assignments in essay 4. So make sure you watch that just to get your kind of brain working on what might be good for a topic for essay 4. All right. So the 3 things we're going to talk about this week are audience, tone, and purpose. Okay, so some of you might remember a little triangle that we worked on in class before, talking about the rhetorical situation, where you have your message, your audience, and then sort of the means with which you're conveying that message. So when you think of audience, purpose, and tone, you want the same idea that these are all connected, okay? So that your audience is going to change the tone that you use. Your purpose is going to change the audience that you write to, and all of these factors affect the content. So what you're actually writing about, okay? This is really important for a letter proposal because you're writing to a specific person, right? So sometimes you might have seen like a letter that starts with to whom it may concern. That's not us. All right. What we're going to do is write to a specific person, either the president of SWIC, the CEO or boss of whatever company you work for, or the governor of Illinois. So obviously, these are people that are in power, that have the ability to enact change, and have a specific demographic, prior knowledge, and needs that you need to think about. Okay, so the basics of this, when you talk about purpose, that's going to be the reason you're writing. When you talk about tone, you're talking about the attitude the writer conveys. Your audience is going to be the individual or the group that you're writing to. Okay, so when you think of your audience, I don't want you to say, ooh, all Americans, or everybody, or young people. For this, you really do need to have a specific person that you're talking to. All right, and I put a couple Um, kind of funny things on the right here. The first one says, "It's not what you said, it's how you said it." Has anyone ever told you that? I used to get this all the time from my dad. He'd be like, "I I can understand that you're upset, but you shouldn't speak to me that way, right?" Or this next one says, "Don't you type at me in that tone of voice." Kind of sounds like my mom. But um, these are pretty illustrative of what I mean by tone. So it's important to understand the message that you are giving, but the words that you use and the way in which you use them is going to dictate your tone and how they're perceived. So I want you to think about this pretty carefully while you decide on your topic for essay 4. All right, so a couple examples. I want you to think about while I read through these, which of these is to a friend, all right, and which of them is to someone's parents. So example A says, "Last Saturday, I volunteered at a local hospital. The visit was fun and rewarding. I even learned how to do cardiopulmonary resuscitation, or CPR. Unfortunately, I think I caught a cold from one of the patients. Don't worry, I'll get lots of rest." And example B says, "OMG, you won't believe this. My advisor forced me to do my community service hours at this hospital all weekend. We learned CPR, but we did it on dummies, not even real peeps. And some kid sneezed on me and got sick. I was so bored and sniffling all weekend. I hope I don't have to go back next week." So, if you guessed that example A was written to parents and example B was written to a friend, you are correct. So, there are a couple things in these examples that can help you understand tone in this way. So, if you notice in example A, you've got full sentences, right? "Last Saturday, I volunteered at a local hospital, period. The visit was fun and rewarding, period." Whereas when you look at example B, you've got sentence fragments like "OMG." You've also got some slang, kind of like peeps. Um, and OMG, I guess, would also be slang. So, also in the first example where they say, "Don't worry, I'll get lots of rest." That's something you say to your parents, right? So, this is a good example of describing the same situation, but to two different people and with really two different tones. So, as we move on to thinking more about audience, I want you to think of 4 different factors that can affect your audience. And actually, in your proposal outline for this weekend, you're going to have to think about these factors. So the first one is demographics. This is pretty much the basic data about a person. So think about like the census. All right, they're going to ask you your age, your ethnicity, your gender. These are really kind of those labels that we give to people, and they really do dictate some of how we perceive different messages. The next is education. So, what's your audience's education level? Are they young children in elementary school? Are they adults in a community college? Are they someone with a master's degree, with a doctorate? And then prior knowledge is going to be similar to education, but it's really what your audience already knows about your topic. And we're going to look at an example of this. The last is expectations. So you want to think about not only what your audience knows about your topic, but what they expect from you in terms of formatting, in terms of grammar, in terms of content. We all, when we get a message from someone, I mean, think about when a text pops up on your phone and it says from mom. Okay, you've got expectations about what your mom is likely going to be texting you about. If you have a message from your best friend and you've been, I don't know, waiting for news from them, then that's going to change your expectations of what that message is going to have in it. So let's do an example. I want you to think for a second about the classmates that you haven't seen in a few weeks. It's so sad. Um, in your class, in my English 101 class, and take a second to think about the demographics. So, what kind of ages are they? Ethnicities, genders? Do you know anything about their religious beliefs? How about their education? So, they're all at SWIC, obviously, but not everyone is in college. We have some high school students. We have some students who are going back to school. We have some students who are older and wanting to just get a certificate. So there's different education levels there. How about prior knowledge? So say you're writing your proposal about changing something at SWIC. You would assume that your classmates would have, prior knowledge of that. They've been on campus, they've seen the campus, they've, experienced what it's like to have classes there. And then expectations is your last. So your classmates might expect maybe a certain level of casualness in your proposal, maybe even some use of the word we and us because you're all part of a group. Okay, how about me? What if you were writing to me? Which some of you may have thought about this already. Um, Demographics wise, I'm white, I'm female, I'm 28, and that all kind of changes how I see your writing and how I interact with you, right? I have a master's degree, but I also teach in a 2-year college, so some different education there. My prior knowledge of, let's say, if we choose the SWIC example again, my prior knowledge of SWIC is pretty good. And maybe my expectations for you are to use maybe a formal tone, to have some strong grammar, sentence structure, all of that. So maybe that's, if I were your audience, those are some things you might want to think about. So I decided to take myself as an example for you guys. So I decided if I was going to write a letter proposal, I would propose a change to my department, the English department at SWIC. And I was thinking something good, especially in recent times, would be to persuade my audience to have weekly Zoom meetings while we're out of face-to-face classes. So right now, I haven't really had any meetings with my department, and I was thinking, it would be nice to catch up, right? So my audience would be my department chair. Some demographics for him: he's in his 50s, he's a white male, he's been our department chair for 3 years, he has a master's degree, and he's worked at SWIC for probably 20, 25 years. He's aware of Zoom. He knows how our department works. He knows me very well. We know each other quite well, so maybe that might affect my tone. I don't want to be too formal. However, his expectations for me might be that I need to be to the point, that I should support my proposal with opinions from other staff, and that I always want to have a focus on students. So that's probably what he's going to expect from me. And I decided to look up some tone words. So looking at this list, what do you guys think is a tone I should use? I pointed out 3 different ones: concerned, direct, and formal, because sometimes it can help to go from a perspective of, well, I'm concerned about other people, I'm concerned about my department, and I want us to stay connected. Maybe that could be a good way to do it. Or if I know that he's really busy and we need to get straight to the point, maybe I need to be a little more direct. All right. But I do still want to be formal, right? I want to be respectful and understand that he's in a position above mine. So this decision is ultimately his. So finally, after you've decided your audience, your purpose, your tone, you're going to think about your content. So this is really the meat of your proposal. So this is going to include your observations, examples, visuals, and data, right? So this is really those examples that are going to support your argument. Going back to my department example, where I want to persuade my department chair to have weekly Zoom meetings, some content I might include: maybe I survey my coworkers and see if they agree with my idea. Maybe I have some information on how meeting can keep our department connected. I assume a lot of us are already spending a lot of time online, so maybe I could come up with that and maybe point out that we haven't had a meeting yet this month. So this is kind of what I'd like you guys to be working on in your outline for your own proposal. All right, you need to decide who is your audience going to be, what are you proposing, what tone should you use, and what content is going to be relevant for you. The last thing I want to talk about on this video is Zoom meetings. Yay! So for those of you who are available, have a laptop or a cell phone where you can get in on Zoom. I'm going to have Zoom meetings during our regularly scheduled class time once a week. We're going to start with once a week. If we decide we want to do more, we'll get to that. So these are the times. They are going to be half-hour meetings because I have the free Zoom account, so I can't do any longer. But I think this will be good just for us to check in, go over the assignment, see what ideas you have for SA4, and anything that I can help with. So if you are free, I'd love for you to drop by. Go ahead and make sure you download the Zoom app, and I'll send a link out to the meeting on Monday. So let me know if you guys have any questions, but good luck with week 12, and I really am excited to see what you come up with.